Hello you guys, and welcome to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah, and today we have more items that I have stopped buying, 10 more ideas to help you simplify your life and live with less and save money in the process. So we're gonna jump right in. First thing I no longer buy are things that hold stuff. Basically any storage bins, baskets, storage boxes, anything like that. I think the issue with these is that if we keep buying them, it encourages us to buy more stuff and hold on to more stuff, because now if you just keep buying these, you've got more places. I know we shared our new apartment tour video very recently. I'll actually link it up here if you haven't seen it yet. But when we moved, we actually downsized quite a bit. We got rid of a bookshelf and a really large dresser piece of furniture that had a lot of drawers and storage space in it. And that was a little bit of an adjustment when we came here, because we had to evaluate, was there going to be a new home for some of these items that were stored there, or was it time to let them go? Fortunately, we've been downsizing gradually over the past 2 years, and it just keeps getting easier and easier. But I think that making sure that you no longer buy any of those additional storage bins can make your life easier, because that is kind of nipping the problem in the bud. If you don't have extra storage space for some of your excess items, you're going to have to deal with it at some point, or make do with what you already have. Even though these storage bins are not necessarily the most expensive, if you do stop buying them, that is going to cut down on your costs. But I think more importantly, the costs of whatever you're going to put in the bin. My second item that I no longer buy are mugs. Now, I do actually have some tea in here right now, but I think mugs are a lot of fun. I have been the girl who would go to Goodwill or other used shops or garage sales and find cute mugs and buy them. I think at one point we had, just for the two of us, we had like over 10 mugs. That was like earlier on. Now we're down to 4. I feel like 2 mugs per person for us works well, but I think mugs are something that really add up without us realizing. And I don't know, I don't think that there's as much of a need for mugs as maybe we think there is. So even though they're cute and they're not necessarily that much money, I have stopped buying mugs, and we're just limited to 2 per person. Now, if one breaks, we may go buy another one if we need one, but I mean, again, need's kind of a relative term here. The next thing I have stopped buying are new books. This one actually I bought used. It used to be a library book, so that was kind of cool. I think it was only like $3 online. And then this was actually a gift, but it was actually given to me from a person who knew that I try to keep things simple, and she actually bought it used before giving it to me. Now, there are exceptions where I do buy new books, mostly in cases where I do really want to financially support the author, especially if they're an acquaintance of mine. But I personally always think about the environmental side of things as well. And if a product already exists that's good enough, I'd rather use the used option rather than create a new item out there. In addition to, the money savings can be pretty substantial. Sometimes you can get the book used for half price or less. I also think that libraries are a great place to have access to your books and be able to share books with the community of people. But also, if you have a library card, go ahead and check out the resource overdrive.com if you haven't yet. There, with a library card, you can have access to a lot of online, like ebooks and other things like that. That makes it very convenient to keep reading and not even have to bring additional items into your space. So highly recommend those, and that can cut down a lot of money. I'm not saying never buy a book again, but just rather than buying new books, opt for used or even using the library. The next item that I no longer buy is swimwear. So personally, I am not someone who really goes swimming that often, maybe like a handful of times a year, but I always find it so interesting. I know I'm a little late in the game since it's not like the start of summer or spring break anymore, but I always find it so interesting how the stores have these huge swimsuit displays every year. Like, are there people who actually buy a new swimsuit every year? I feel like there probably are. So personally, I've had the swimsuit for I think 3 or 4 years at this point, and since I'm not really wearing that often, it doesn't wear out. In the past, I actually was a swim lesson instructor for 3 summers and would swim laps a lot. So in those cases, I definitely would wear out a suit a little bit more quickly. But for me now, since I'm not really swimming that much, there's no need for me to buy a new swimsuit year after year. So we'll see how long this one lasts. I'm guessing it still has a couple more years in it. Next up, fancy stationery or planners. There's a lot of really great journals and planners and stationery on the market that is very pretty and maybe serves a great purpose for some. Personally, I found that just a regular notebook works, and honestly, a lot of the stuff that I do is actually typed out online. I'll use like Google Docs or other related online programs to do my organization and planning, and that I don't need as much paper clutter around. And some of those stationery sets can be kind of expensive, so you know, you got a notebook for less than $1 or use online options. So that's a way to save more money. Something that I don't buy are the latest tech updates. So oftentimes there are some individuals, maybe you know someone, maybe you have been this person, where the minute a new phone, device, whatever it is comes out, you are in line, or they are in line, ready to buy it. Even though, how different is it from their past one? Does their past one still work, etc.? Now, I'm probably on like the very far end of the spectrum of it. You're ready to laugh. This is the phone I'm still using. It's a flip phone. This is the 8th year of it, and I know that I may be still living under a rock, and honestly, there are times where it's like, why am I still using this when I'm running an online business? But I think that it just kind of shows the idea of, if something's still working, why do you need to upgrade it when you're gonna end up spending more money and time? Now, I'm not saying, you know, ditch your fancy device, whatever it is. Like, the computer is something that I use really often, and it's important to me that it's working well, etc. I think in our society we get really excited about these free upgrades and the new devices, when in reality, was our previous device no longer usable or broken? It's a tough question, and obviously I'm not trying to say that I'm the gold standard here by using this 8-year-old phone, but I just think it's something to think about. And for me, since I haven't upgraded a phone at all, then I am not spending the extra money to do that. Next up, you might be wondering, why am I holding up a donut pan? Now, I'm not telling you to stop buying donut pans, although it's not really something that you'd often buy, but this is kind of my symbol here to represent items that you buy as a substitution for something else because you don't want to actually buy what you really want, for various reasons. For me, I've wanted a donut pan for a long time. As a quick backstory, I love donuts. I want to make them at home, but I don't want to fry them because frying things scares me and I know it's not healthy. So because of that, like I kind of miss out on donuts, and I don't really have any like vegan donut shops that I can go to nearby. Technically a donut pan's only like $10 to $13, so I probably should have just bought one in the beginning. But I really also try to avoid buying new things. And so anytime I would go to a thrift store or a place where they sold used items, I'd always be looking for a donut pan because I didn't want to buy a new one. And I actually bought a bundt pan recently, like a mini bundt pan, spent like $3 or $4 on it buying it used. Used it once, I mean, it was fine, but the reality was it didn't replace the donut pan, which is what I actually wanted in the first place. And so because of that, I bought an extra item. Even though it was used, I didn't really need to buy that in the first place. I should have just gone straight with this. This category is more flexible. If there are items that you want to buy and you're looking at, or you've already bought, substitution items in replace of that, is that actually going to make a difference for you? Is that actually going to satisfy whatever the need is that you are trying to satisfy? So that is my example with this one. If there's something I need, I'm just gonna buy the actual one that I need and not buy something else to get around it and then maybe not even help myself out. The 8th item that I no longer buy are board games. In general, I love board games and think they're so much fun, but I'm always surprised how expensive they are when I see new ones for sale. We actually had quite a few board games, but reduced it down to our favorites. So we actually just have 4 board games at the time, and I think that's a really good number for us. The board games are things we actually will play. We save a lot of space that way, but also, since they are such a pricey item and you're not necessarily going to guarantee that you like it and it's played often, that's just something I kind of avoid buying. I have purchased used games before, and that can be an option too. I don't have props for these last 2 items because I don't have any around the house. First of all, I don't buy jumbo bottles of medicine or related medical items that I don't use regularly. The reason being, I don't know if it's ever happened to you where you have like a large bottle of ibuprofen or whatever it is, and it goes bad or technically expires before you're done using it. That would always happen to us. We generally don't have much of that kind of medicine around. I do have allergy pills that I take sometimes when my allergies are really bad, but in general, even if we did have items, we wouldn't go through them in time. And I feel like time would fly and we wouldn't use more than just like 1 or 2 of maybe a certain type of medicine. If we are buying that kind of stuff anymore, we will try to get the smallest pack. Obviously, you know yourself best. If there's something you use a lot, then the jumbo pack is probably a much better deal. But if you are someone who typically finds yourself having to go through that medicine cabinet and throw things away, maybe it's best to simplify. They even sell travel packs too of some of these things, which may be enough for what you need. And then finally, my 10th item that I no longer buy is workout equipment or gym memberships. It's kind of an uphill battle, kind of the idea of like, oh, I'd like to work out or I'd like to exercise more, and then I didn't end up using the gym membership we had or necessarily using some of the equipment as much. So being realistic with yourself, that can be really expensive. $50 a month, which I think our YMCA membership was, that's $600 a year. And so if you're not getting value out of that and you're not making the most of those dollars, like that is something really great to cut. I think right now I'm in a place where I am focusing on being active in ways that I find more fun anyway, but also that are free. So right now, the 2 things I've been doing to exercise, I'm really excited. Our new apartment has a park right by it with a half-mile loop around a little lake there, and it's really nice and peaceful. And so we've gone walking there every single day for the last 4 or 5 days since we discovered it. And that's something, a goal of ours is to keep doing that every day, just have that be part of our routine. I've also been dancing around the apartment, and with that, all I need is some music and some headphones, and I'm good to go. So that is very helpful in saving money, but still being active in the process. So there you guys go. Those were 10 things that I no longer buy to help save money and live more simply. If you enjoy minimalist related content, I do post videos 3 times a week here on this channel, and I'd love to have you as a subscriber. If you have not yet joined our community, you can click on my face right here to subscribe, or check out some of our past videos of things I've stopped buying right here. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.